Today we're going to make this fabulous little holiday gnome, so let's get started. I hope you'll join us. With today's supply list. We have our canvas, our yellow, red, blue, black and white acrylic paint, our cup of water, our brushes, a large flat brush, a medium brush, and a small brush. Optional equipment is a pencil and an extra cup of water. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put in our background, which means we're going to cover the entire canvas. We don't necessarily have to do the very bottom, but we will, just because this way we have a seamless transition from the bottom to the top. And I'm going to start by making brown. I want to do something soft, so I like a brown wood in the background. And how do we do that? We start with some blue, and I will use my my little popsicle stick to pour out some blue. Okay, so I'm just going to take my blue. You know, I need an extra hand here. I'm just going to show you. I'm taking it out of here, putting it onto there, putting it right up there. A fair amount, because we don't want to be left short, you know, when we're doing our background, okay? I think that's plenty. One for good luck, right? Okay, so that's our blue. I'm going to put it back down. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to grab pretty much the same amount of red. Okay, again, using my stick. And you notice I don't put it on top of the other color. I put it beside it, okay? Again, that's plenty there. Well, again, like I said, one more for good luck. Better to have too much than not enough, okay? I'm gonna put that back. And I'm going to take my yellow. Again, I like to show you every step. I don't want to just say, put out blue, yellow, you know, red. I want you to see exactly what I'm doing. As a visual learner, I totally understand that, okay? And I'm gonna put that over here. Okay, so that's what's we're gonna use to mix our, to make our brown, okay? Just move that, put my yellow back down here. And while I'm here, I think I may just take some white. Let me just shut that down, okay? I may just put some of my white out as well. And I will do that. And I haven't used my brush yet, so I'll use my brush to take it out. Putting it right there. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be mixing our colors. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get some red and move it to the middle. Some blue, move it to the middle. Some yellow, move it to the middle. And I'm gonna blend it, okay? And you'll see what color you get. And if it's too green, then add some more red. If it's too purple, add some more yellow. If it's too orange, add some more blue. You'll figure it out, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. And you're gonna get the color that you like, and then you get to use it. Now, if you wanted more of a green background, that's fine. You know, it's a gnome, it's a holiday gnome. So there's no problem with having that. So I'm just gonna hold that down on my lap. It's a little bit easier for me to mix it than trying to hold it up, but you saw how I was doing it. Red, blue, yellow. Just get that in there, get that all mixed up. You can use your brush or you can use a popsicle stick. If you have a palette knife, that would be ideal. I kind of just make it work with what I have. Okay, and again, I want to make sure that I have at least enough to go on that, cover my whole canvas. So I'm just trying to get that color that I'm happy with. May take a little bit, but that's okay, right? Anything worth doing is worth doing right. And if I see it's a little bit too green, I'm going to add some more red. Mix it in there. And again, this is why we don't pour our colors on top of it themselves, because then there's a chance that we'll end up with way too much paint. We will have wasted a lot of it, and we don't want to waste anything. So I'm just looking it through. Okay, looking a little purple on me, so I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. And by all means, like I said, when you get to the color you're happy with, that's the color you should run with. So I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of liking it's kind of a, almost like a woodsy green, which is perfect because my gnomes live in the woods. I don't know where your gnomes live, but my gnomes live in the woods, okay? So I got a fair amount of paint there. And I'm gonna take it to the canvas and see if I like it. Oh yeah, I like it. And the great thing about it is I'm gonna take some white, and you notice I take it from the side, okay? And I'm gonna put it in there too. So it's kind of like an ash, almost like an ash tree would be. So here I have some of the green, the brownish green and the white. And I'm mixing it on there. And notice I'm not mixing a complete separate color. I'm going up and down because we want to cover our canvas. This is the whole idea right now, is to get that paint on the canvas. Okay, so I'm pulling it in, pulling it up. And I like adding the white because it just gives it another level. And you notice I'm not just, like I said, making a brand new color. You'll get those natural striations of the colors in there. Okay. And you can even see how your brush is going to go dry. That's fine. That's when we know to get some more paint up here. If that had a little bit of yellow in it, that's fine. Because again, maybe some things didn't get 100% mixed. I like to have all these different colors in here. They look intentional, like we've worked for days. And trust me, I've worked for days on a background, and it's okay. All right, here we go, a little bit more. And a little bit of white. You notice I'm dragging it in from the sides to meet up with it here, okay? So you drag from here and you drag from there. That's how I'm doing that. Okay, my brush is getting a little dry. I'm gonna add a little water to my brush. And here we go. I like it. You know, sometimes you just don't, you don't intend on a color and then you get one, you're like, oh my goodness, I love that. So especially since he's going to be a winter holiday gnome. I've done this exact painting with a gray background, which was lovely as well. Again, just grabbing some paint, mixing it in, covering the canvas. That's our only goal right now. And you notice how I'm going up and down because chances are we're going to make this into, say, like some wooden boards. So we want to have that natural, the way you would have a slab of wood cut. There. And we really want to get it all covered. You know, we don't want any of the white showing through, which is what happens. So see when I do something like that, it doesn't cover, the white's coming through. We don't want that. We really want it nicely, covered. Oh, I'm loving this. Loving this color. And again, you will know when you have the color you like. Now, let's say I didn't like this color, I put it here. Well, I'd go back and mix another one. And you see how we don't stop in the middle? We go all the way up. Even if we run out of paint, we go all the way up. It's a little dark, so I'm gonna add a little white to that. You notice how I can just add it right on the canvas? There's no need to worry. Why not just do it on the canvas? That's where it's gonna eventually live. Some more white in there. So it's funny, so like we have a darker green over here. And over here it's a little lighter, and that's fine. And you could do your background whatever color you like. If you wanted to have a purple background, you would mix, what colors would you mix? Yeah, you would mix blue and red. You get that purpley background. And the great thing about this is if you find it's too dark in some spots, you add some white. If you find it's too light, you can go back and add some dark. And I'm just trying to like brighten it up, so I'm gonna put some white over these darker sections. Right now, I just wanna get all my canvas covered. Now, because I take you through the entire painting with me, you're welcome to pause or fast forward at any point where you see I'm just doing something that's repetitive. You've already seen how I started my background. I will not have hurt feelings if you decide to fast forward. Providing, you know, you've done your background. You don't want to miss anything. Oh, I seem to have made just the right amount of color. Sometimes it doesn't really work that way. Now, if you were to run out, by all means, you just make some more, and then you could mix it in. So let's say you had something that was really way too green or way too yellow or way too whatever. Just come back and add a stroke of it so it looks like it was intentional. Okay, get some more paint on here. Make sure to check out my video on blending colors. That's a fun one. I'll have to put the link to that. Okay. Still getting it out here. Gnomes have become extremely popular in the past couple of years. I don't know if Frozen had anything to do with it. But hey, whatever got it out there. We love a gnome. Okay. Now, as you see, it's kind of hard for me to reach over. What am I going to do? Turn it over and bring it to me. Okay. Oh, that's easier than trying to stretch. Almost done. I try not to cut away too often. I don't want you to think you missed anything. Sometimes I do just because the paint is taking its time to dry and you really don't want to waste your time watching paint dry. But, you know, we'll see. Okay. I'm happy. Sometimes when I want to get my sides done, I just go really fast, like that. But then you still have to come straight down. Okay, so I'm liking it. I think I'm gonna just finish up my sides because we always paint our entire canvas. What does that mean? That means we do the sides, the top, the bottom. Okay. And right now, I guess you can't see it. I'm just doing the edges. It's kind of hard when you're trying to get, you know, as close to the canvas as possible and still be able to get the brushes in. So I did that side is done. I'm going to turn it back over. Yep, that's done. While I'm here, I could as well just do the top. Okay. And because this is the direction it was going in, get this side done too. And when you finish and you look at it, you can decide, is it too light? Is it too dark? You know, right now, our whole goal was just to get the paint on the canvas, get that white covered so we can move along, okay? Okay. Yep. Now I'm going to do this side here. Because you see there's some parts that still haven't, just move that. There we go. Just have to get this over here. Okay, just get this on here. Alrighty. Thank you for hanging out with me while I do this. And for those of you who disappeared, that's fine. Again, I wouldn't tell you to do something if I wasn't okay with it. Okay, here we go. And it's funny because of the colors we put in here. Like I said, if it didn't get 100% mixed in, you can almost see the red, and the blue, and the yellow. Again, this is the easiest way to get a background on there that looks like, wow, you must have taken forever to get all those colors on there just right. When you and I know, we just kind of did it. Don't tell anybody. And get this side done. I'll do the bottom as well, except the bottom is going to be blue, so I don't have to worry about it doing it with this color that we blended. And you know, when you add the white to it, it almost looks like a eucalyptus color. Okay. Okay. So I'm kind of happy with it. What I will say is that I do see a little bit of the white coming through from my under, you know, maybe it was, maybe this particular portion was a little dry. So what I'll do is I will grab some water and just put it in here to my original colors. As you see, I used exactly all of my water. And just to do that. And it's really basically just to fill in that spot there. Okay. Now I can't believe we spent 18 minutes on this part, but you know, again, you may do it faster or slower. Everybody gets to move at their own pace when we do videos, which is just another reason to love them. I know I do. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to let this guy dry. And I'm not going to make you watch paint dry. So let me just get my dryer. This is a heat gun. it's pretty dry. Let me check. Now when I check for dryness, I don't go like this. I just put my hand down. I pick up and down. It's a little wet over there, but okay, I'm not going over there right now. I'm really staying in the center. So it's pretty ready to go. So when I'm outlining, you can use a pencil. I prefer not to, and I'll tell you why. Because then you kind of really stuck with that line, whatever line you put there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my medium-sized brush. You can use your liner brush or thin brush too, if you'd like. Whatever makes you happy. And what I'm going to go in here is I'm going to take a little bit of my white, right, in here. I'm going to mix with a little bit of blue, a little bit of the red, to try to create that background color that we have. Get some of that yellow up there. Don't need tons of it. Okay. Just going to mix that. Add a little more white to it. I'll show you why we added the white to it, okay? And why we went with this color. Could have gone yellow, could have gone straight up white. I wouldn't go black right now, and I'll show you why. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our outline on the canvas. But we don't know exactly where we're going to want things. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get an idea of where we want our gnome to live, okay? And believe it or not, I'm going to start with his nose. So I think I'm going to put his nose right here. Okay? Now, why did I put it there? Why did I use this color? And I'll show you. Because, I mean, I like it there, and I'm going to put it back there once I take it out. But if I wasn't happy with it there, I could go ahead and erase it. See? Because it was the same color. That's why I do that. Okay? So, you know, everything for a reason. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry that back up because I really liked it there. Okay. Again, I'm going to check, make sure it's dry. It is. And I'm going to go ahead and put my nose back there, okay? So I liked it right about, maybe I'll come down a little bit, huh? What do you think? Let me see. Ground, feet, beard, nose. Okay. So I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to decide where my hat's going to start. Well, my hat's going to start right here because that's where my nose is. I'm going to come off the side of that and make it come down a little bit, right? So I'm happy with him there. Now, again, I'm over here on the side. I'm not in front of it, so you'll have to forgive me if my arm crosses over. Next, I want my hat to come up. And he's kind of has a strange little directional hat. It comes up a little bit, then it goes in. Then maybe it goes in a little bit further again, and then again. And again, you can make it go straight up if you want. It can come sideways. Whatever you want to do, it's your hat, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have it start to turn. And we want to have at least 2 inches from the top. It's coming across. And over here, it still has to come up a little bit. And then swing over. Okay, so that's how mine's looking. Now remember, this is just the outline for placement, okay? And I don't think after you know, we're gonna put a nice big old fat pom-pom there. So that's where that is. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to decide that our ground is gonna come up to about there, Okay, just putting that there again for that line to have an idea. And on top of that, coming straight down from my nose, I'm going to put 2 eggs. That's one. And then right beside it, well, over a little bit, another egg, because these are his feet. So we want to do that before we put in our beard, okay? And the beard is fun, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna come out the side, right? Come out the side and then come straight across. Our beard it's kind of wayward. And then this is as well. Okay. And we just get an idea of where our beard's gonna be. I'm not going to do too much of this because I want to give it we're going to fill it in with our color. So these again, just our guidance. But I do want to have an idea of where it's going to be. So yeah, so they're intersecting right now, and that's okay. Just to give me an idea of where our lines are going to be. Okay, so right now we're doing pretty good as far as having our gnome on here. We're not going to worry so much about our branches that are going to come down. If you're concerned about it, by all means, I will go ahead and put one up there. So it's going to come down over here like this, and maybe go up there. Okay, again, all for placement's sake, as we say. And then I'm going to just, since I'm here, because well, decide where my base is going to be. Okay, so you got the idea of where we are? Perfection. All right, so let's start filling it in, right? So I'm going to wash my brush. Perfect. And I'm going to go first with, I think, our hat. Okay, so our hat is red, and what I'm going to do is, I have plenty of red here. I'm going to move it over here. I'm still going to use my medium brush because I'm going to have to get into those little thin spots there. So I'm moving my red there because I'm going to take it and put a little tiny bit of black, the smallest amount of black you've ever seen. Let me get my brush. Okay, I'm just putting it right there. That's it. Now granted, it's a lot of black, but I'll be using it elsewhere because I don't muddy it up by mixing them together. Okay, so I'm gonna take my red, I have this red over here, put a little bit more there, right? And that much black. Okay, just mixing it in. I'm just making a really dark red. I want that to be my base. Okay, and you see it almost like a maroon or vermilion, crimson, one of those great colors, right? And I'm just going to come in here and follow my guidelines from before. And again, don't worry about it. It's just going to be a matter of filling it in. And you see how we're going over the original line? That's why we did it in such a light color. This way all of our lines get covered. And if it doesn't get covered 100%, that's fine because it matches the background. I hope you find that to be a helpful little tip. Yep, and that's why I'm doing it all now. Cover my background. And the reason being is because then I can go in with my wider brush, my bigger brush, to fill it in. And it's just the thin areas that I have to do with this brush, because then I'll be able to use my wide brush. And again, the bigger the brush, the more coverage you're going to get, but you don't get a lot of control. Okay, so I'm going to go and grab my bigger brush because it'll make my life a little bit easier. And where did I do with that? Okay, well, I seem to have dropped my brush. I'll be right back. Well, yep, my brush had rolled off and I had to go find it. So I moved to my large brush and I'm just filling it in, okay? Straight up in. Again, we wanted to make sure it was dry, right? If you don't have a hair dryer, blow dryer, I should say, or a heat gun, that's okay. Just give it 2 seconds. Acrylic is very, very quick drying, so you don't have to worry about anything. Just fill it in there. And get some more black in there, just because I want to have another layer of interest there. So see how it's coming up there? Again, this is just the first layer. We're going to put another layer right over it. Okay, seem to have got some on my nose. That's perfectly okay. I'll fix it when I'm ready. What a great thing is about doing it on the video is I can look at the video and see how dark it looks in the middle. That's okay. Again, this is the first coat. It's going to be what's underneath. And if there's a little extra black in your brush, that's fine. When we put our top coat on top of it, again, this is just to give it some depth, some color. I like that. So what we're also going to do while we're here is we're going to do our shoes. Now, again, this brush may be too big, but if you know how to work it, you can make it just work. Otherwise, go back to your medium-sized brush. Okay. So I'm liking that so far. So we've got our hat in there. We have got our shoes in there, at least to start with. The next thing we're going to do, I think, is maybe add some of our snow. Okay, so I'm gonna wash out my brush really well, really well, okay? And we're gonna put some blue down here because then we're gonna cover it over with white, and it's really gonna make our snow kind of pop, okay? But I just did this red, so I'm gonna give it a few seconds to dry. And I'm gonna show you how quick it could dry. Just a skosh, as we say, just a skosh. Okay, and again, we just want to, perfect, done. So what I'm going to do now is, because I have all this blue here, I'm going to take it with my large brush. I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to meet up with my shoes. See? Got that? A little bit of water in my brush. And that'll happen sometimes, so you want to make sure you rinse off your brush and then dry it. And that's going to give you the most coverage. Take that little extra water out of there. Come over here. Again, first coat, guys. And because I'm going to be covering it with so much white, I'm really not too concerned about how much coverage I get on this. Again, I just want to cover the back because I don't want that green or greenish brown background to come through. Just the blue. I'll come this way. Because again, remember it met up with our shoes. And I bring it around the side because we paint our entire painting. I'll get the bottom later. Okay. You know, like it to get right up there. What do you think? Yep, me too. Okay, so now just wash off my brush. Again, you want to wash your brushes after you use them. Take all that excess paint out, then dry them. Lay them on a paper towel just to get the excess water out. Okay, because next we're going to do is we're going to be putting in some of our dark lines. Okay, we have our nose here to go, and we have our beard to go. And then of course our tree. So I think what we're going to do now is therefore I am, right? Maybe I'll put in some of my nose because my nose is going to be in a few different layers as well. So I'm going to take my medium-sized brush that I cleaned off really, really well. And I know you can't see it, it's off the camera, but I'm just taking out, just making sure it's 100% dry. And our nose is going to start out with a fun bubblegum type pink. Or you know what we'll do first? I'll take straight up white. Because remember, we're going over that gray in the back. Make sure this is dry, and it is. And why do we do white first? Because then it's easier to cover with our colors. So I'm just going to throw this in here. Okay, and it's funny because our shoes and our nose, same exact shape. Okay, so I got that on there. Leave that in there. Alrighty, so next, what am I gonna do? I got that basic white on there. I'm gonna put a little pink. So it's again, that little bit of pink, that red, with a wee bit of white. Blending it in. Don't need tons of it. And this is still a little tacky, perfectly okay. And I'm just going to come in here and roll it around. Okay. There we go. Almost like a bubble gum. Again, it's just our first layer. So after that, what we're going to do is we really want to start building on our beard. And our beard has a lot of black in it. So I'm going to start on that. I'm going to wash out my brush once again because I really like my middle-sized brush. It does a lot for me. You can use your small brush if you prefer, your choice. Again, this whole thing is going to be your choice. So what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of black here, and I'm going to come off the side of my nose, okay? See that? And I'm just coming down, just coming around. Touch the top. I didn't really touch the top. I'll get back to it and touch the top, okay? But right now, just getting that all in there. Again, coming off the side that nose, just pulling it. I'm just dragging the paint. Okay, so see it just coming out of there. Okay, keep going. So see it's just coming off of there like that? And I'm just dragging it down. And I'll go back up there and finish it with the pink later, you know, meet up with it, because it isn't right on top of it. And again, just dragging the black, creating some of those sections, those lines, filling that up again like that. Here's another line. And these whole sections, they could be however you want them to be. Okay, so we've got all that going on in there. I'm just going to drag some of it down. Put a little bit more black in there. Let's see why. The reason we're doing all this black, I'll show you. Because this is the one time where we don't wait for it to dry. You know, I'll always say, wait for it to dry, wait for it to dry. And in this one, we actually don't. Okay, so I'm gonna wash off my black brush. I'm just gonna actually go throw it in the water here. And I'm gonna get my big brush and my white, okay? And I'm just gonna bring it through. So I start up there. Just drag some white. How cool is that? Because we don't realize that even though we think it's a white beard, there's a lot of gray in it. And again, I'm just taking my brush, throwing it in the white and bringing it down. I'm using kind of like the edge of it to start up here. And then I swing it around. So bring it like that. And again, we can go back up there and adjust it with our black. But this is how we get this color, these great sweeps in it, okay? Come over here. And again, those first lines we put on here were just really some guidance. Because remember, I've said in the past, it's really the strokes that kind of matter. The way the strokes, they in turn make you think that this is blowing. You know, if it was straight up and down, you wouldn't get that same effect. Okay, do some over here. And sometimes if the black got a little dry, you can just drag it through and it should pick up some of it. If not, you can always go back and just add more black. But I'm just gonna work like this. Oh, I love this little guy. We're just getting the ideas in there. This is the way it's going. What do you think so far? You see how it's got all that movement? I mean, it has so much movement. And if it comes up a little bit, go around it. I love it. And again, I'm just gonna swipe over it, all those dark black lines. Come over here. Okay, just bringing it in. Coming down here on the line again. Now, if you're concerned about, getting too much on the feet or what have you, by all means, go back and get your medium-sized brush or your smaller brush or the brush that you feel most comfortable and you have the most control over, okay? There we go. Okay, so I'm kind of liking this guy as it is right now. I'm gonna fan, my brush is almost dry, but I'm just gonna fan it down here like this. And we're gonna go back and put a little black in there later. Not to worry. Remember I said I was gonna fix that up there? So that's, so far, we're doing pretty well. I think we're really getting a feel for what our gnome is gonna look like and what he's up to. Now, as you know, if you've taken my classes before, if it has a face, because there's a face under here. I know you can't see it, but there's a face under there. If it has a face, you have to give it a name and a backstory. So like, where is this gnome from? Where does it live? What do we need to know about it? Those kinds of things. So since my white is still a little bit on the tacky side, I'm gonna go right ahead in there with some of my black and get some outlines going, okay? Because we're gonna drag it out here. Remember? And we're gonna drag it out and we're gonna kind of like give it some, because remember it's blowing that way. So we're gonna give it some direction. So it's coming out, but then we're gonna drag it that way. Okay? And also we're gonna do around the edges. If you prefer to use your small brush, by all means, please do. You want to have a lot of control. Okay, and as you see, I'm just getting that underneath there. Okay, just giving it a little movement. See, I'm dragging it. It's almost dry. Okay, but I'm gonna go get a little water, clean up my brush a little bit, pick up some more paint, because we don't want it to be too dry. And this is gonna come over this way. And again, this is where you play. You could make it do whatever you wanna, okay? This is also probably the most laborious part because you just keep playing with it till you're happy. I know I'll probably add more white, go back and forth. Okay, so as much as I like that, you know I'm gonna go back with some white, right? But this time I may use my smaller brush, my medium-sized brush, because I wanna go over the lines I just put there. So, kind of like highlight it almost. By doing that, it breaks down the width of that first, heavy line, which is why I said it's okay whichever, brush you choose to use, because you're going to thin it out with the color. We don't want any hard lines, so we go back and soften them just like that. Okay. Go get some more white. This line was bothering me. See, I'm almost erasing it, which is fine. I know I just put it there, but I just wanted to give it that hint of movement. See how you get that in there right now? So much more interest going on. Okay. And I don't know which size you chose to do this in, because we did offer it in the 16 by 20 or the 11 by 14. But no matter what size you try, it's amazing. I love it. Pull that up there. Okay, let's get a little bit more white over there, these corners. And like I said, lots of movement. And you can go back to, you can decide if you want to make the black lines a lot more prominent. Like I'm kind of like going over them because it's making that darkish gray, instead of having stark black lines. Again, completely up to you. I'm going to show you two options when this is done. One with the sharper black lines, and then this one, which is a little softer in the beard, but still telling you exactly what's going on. Still telling you that the wind's blowing this way, okay? And also, that one has a different background. I think it's important to see all the options, okay? So I'm liking that. I'm just bringing it down from here. I'll probably go back and just add a little bit. See, I'm bringing the white up into it, breaking it up a little bit. And you're gonna be like, but Barbs, you're gonna go back there and add more black to it. I know. But again, this is where it really gets, what can I say? This is where it gets really personal. You decide what you want to do, okay? And I'm just gonna leave that like that for now. I'm liking it. Again, over here, it's quite stark still. And I just wanted to soften that down. Okay. I'm gonna let that dry up a bit. I'll go back in a bit and then I'll decide if I'm gonna add more black, if I'm gonna add more lines, etc. So right now, while that's doing that, I'm gonna go back and I'm going to do some more of our hat. Okay, so I'm gonna wash out my brush. As you see, we do a lot of that washing of the brush thing, but that's okay. We're supposed to. We take care of our tools will take care of us. Okay, so let me see, is this dry? Okay, so it's dry up by the nose. I'm gonna let the down there dry up a bit. So I'm gonna go back and add some more of the red over here. Got a little bit of white. Gotta find the right spot, sorry guys. And I'm blending that in. Okay, I'm making that pink. And we don't want it too light, or a little bit darker. And again, coming in here, you see how we're going over where those lines were? Where the black was coming into it? That's why we have to wait till it's dry 100%. Painting that in. Now this is one of the paintings that take a little bit longer than what I usually do. But every once in a while you want to invest that time, invest that energy into something fun like this. And I love it, so I don't mind doing it at all. Now again, down here at the bottom, we're going to add another layer to our shoes. And that was again with our darker, remember how we mixed the red and the black? Okay, I'm gonna come down in here, put another layer on that, really get it dark. You see how, and even though I've done that, it gets a little bit closer. They're getting a little closer under here, because I'm going outside the lines. Nice. Yep, I do talk to myself, by the way. Sometimes I need to speak with an expert. I talk to me. Just kidding, guys. Okay, so we have that there. Now, I'm going to move up to the hat. And again, we have that nice dark, that we did that nice dark red on there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put straight up red, okay? And again, like I did before, remember how I said we're going to use our small brush around there, and then we'll go ahead with our big brush to fill in. We're still gonna do that, guys. But right now, since I know all of that is dry, I'm gonna go directly from here, okay? And I'm not going over the edges, I'm going close to it. But I'm almost kind of letting it create a border. So you see how it has that depth of color? I'm gonna come down here and do this section here so I can then switch up to my other brush. Okay. Okay, we'll switch up to my bigger brush, get a little bit more coverage, a little faster. Okay. Okay, here we go. Still grabbing that brush, bringing it in. Oh, I love it. I love it because it just, again, it's hard to tell on the camera, but when you're doing it, you're gonna see how beautiful it looks and how much interest it brings. Okay, I think you can see it a little bit. And then again, I go in the motion, in the direction. Okay, go. Down here, and then up and around. Can you guys see that? I think so. I think it looks pretty neat. Okay, so I'm gonna wash out my brushes. I'm gonna change up my water and I'm gonna be back in 2. Okay, I'm back. I washed up my brushes really nicely. And I'm gonna put this up here on the edge because we're gonna work a little bit on the bottom now. And what I have my large brush once again, taking some white, and I'm just flicking it in here, okay? It's not so much that we're looking to cover it over completely. We just want to get some movement. Again, go on the sides as well, right? So it's okay that it's not covering exact and that it's heavier in some spots than in others. Again, we just want to get the idea that maybe the snow is going someplace, or that it fell last night and he's just crunching on it now. That's okay to go above where the blue is, by all means. I kind of like it because it gives it some, it's not flat. Now if you notice, if you look over here, right, it's flat. When we add these little brush strokes, and they're just, think about going like that, almost like, this is how I do water actually, except instead of doing it like this, which is where I do water on the tip, I'm going sideways. And again, up there. I think I might even like a little bit more white than blue. I'll show you a few options. I like to give you guys a lot of options because we are doing this on, virtually. So whereas things I could have shown you in person, I want to make sure that you get the same effect, the same options as if you were here, okay? So again, just okay. Okay, so you see how that's just flowing in there? Now, this is a very dark bottom, okay, a very dark base. If you want it to be lighter, I'll show you what you can do, okay? Take that white that we have, right? Put it there, grab some of that blue from before, and you see they're both wet. So now watch. Still a lot of blue, but it's softer. And when I grab just straight up white, watch, it just, see? Again, it's all about that stroke. So I wanted to give you this option over here and then this option over here. With this option over here, I like to use a lot of white. And now because I don't want it just, this or this, I will finish it off over here with like this. You've had a chance to see them both and you can decide what you like. I like this one. So I'm gonna grab, like I said, some more white. And because I didn't do the white and blue over here, I'm gonna have to do that over here. So grab that little bit of white and blue like I had earlier, right? But the great thing about this is, so I've showed you the other base that we could do, but you see how you could switch right in midstream, change your idea, change your mind. Say, I don't like that. Let me just do it this way. That's what it's about. It's about changing and making it your own and deciding how you want to do it, okay? So again, this is very dark over here in comparison to that. So I'm just gonna add some more white. Don't forget your sides. Okay, so that gives us a whole different base. I want some more blue over here. I know I didn't put a lot over here to start with. Brush. And look, you can even see the foreground, the background, doing it this way. And about that stroke. Lots of white. See the difference? Maybe over here, do a little bit more blue. Okay. Some more blush. And that's the way you also get that that level of difference, you see? So if I add just a wee bit of blue, right? We get those in there so it looks like snow drifts. And then we just blend them. So like I said, these are the types of things you could spend days on. And I will leave you to that. You, by all means, rock on. If you want to spend days on it, that's fine. I have to do it expeditiously in order to get you the whole painting done. But again, you work in your own time. Another great thing about doing virtual classes. Okay, so I have that on there. I have our base done. I have most of our beard done and most of our hat done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up here and I'm going to work on our tree trim, our tree limb, sorry. Let me wash out my brush, okay? And I'm gonna make some green. Green, I already took out some yellow and blue, and I'm gonna blend it. And again, whatever green you want, you can get. If you want it really bright, use more yellow. If you want a little deeper, use more blue. If you want to get more of a type of an olive, when I'm talking a little bit of black. So I'm gonna do that over here. Okay, so I've got a little bit of, I like that color. Now it's the color that you choose, okay? I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna start up in the corner and I'm using the tip, okay? okay? And remember, that's where we put our initial limbs. So what I'm gonna do is, that's very, very light in comparison, so I made a little bit more black, make it a little bit deeper. Or you can go the other direction, use a lot more yellow and make it a lot brighter. I think I'm gonna make it a little bit deeper. I love green. I love all different kinds of greens. Makes me happy. Okay, so got my basic limbs on there. I'm going to use my small brush, my thinnest brush, okay? And I'll show you why. Let me just get a little bit more yellow in there. Mix that up. And again, I like to show you what I'm doing. So yeah, I added a little bit more yellow. Because even though I had the black in there and I liked it, I just felt it needed to not look so dark. So it still has some base in there from the black, but that's okay. Put down my brush. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm taking my thin brush, I'm gonna wet it a little bit, and I'm going to start by taking my paint and coming from the corner. Okay, let me come down here so you can see it. I'm just gonna make these lines. I will have to make it darker so that you can see it. Of course, you do whatever color that makes you happy, but for the purpose of showing you, I'm gonna have to make it a lot darker. Sorry guys. I mean, when I'm done, I can always make it brighter. Okay, so we can start from up here. I see I'm just feathering it out. By doing it that way, we get the idea that it's a branch. And I like to flick, because then we don't get a dead stop. It kind of flicks off. Okay, I'll show you that over here. Okay, see how I've done that? By doing it that way, you get a realism to your branch. Again, I had to do mine a little bit extra dark so that you could see it, but that's okay. It's still green. And you're gonna do that all the way up the branch, okay? So flick, 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 flick. You have to be going in the right direction too. You can't go all willy-nilly in different directions. You think of the way a branch and where the needles are and how they all come down. Okay. Okay, so you kind of get the idea? Kind of like it. If you feel you need a little bit of, you can go, I put another color over the top of it, give it some depth. So whereas like this is very dark, I have a little spot where there's like a little extra yellow. I can touch that and just kind of treat it like a highlight. Actually looks like rosemary. I grew rosemary this summer. Love it. Okay, so again, just do that little bit extra yellow on there. Not every spindle, every needle, just here and there. Again, giving it a little bit of love. mean, you could use white, but I think the yellow just lends to the fact that it's green. We'll use white for other things. Okay, so that's our branch there. Make it a little fatter. Of course, as it goes up the tree, it should be a little fatter. Nice. And that's the whole idea of using all these different colors, shades, gives you more depth. Okay, so that's done. Now, I've decided that we're going to have hanging from here some ornaments, okay? And I think my ornament, let me see, I don't know what color you'd like to do. I think we're gonna go ahead with, I don't know, yeah, I'll get back to that. Maybe red, maybe gold, haven't decided yet. But right now, I'm gonna come over here and we're going to do our poof, okay? And our poof is gonna be with just the white. And we can do like that. Or you can do a circle, I mean, complete circle and have it come off of there like that. I'll show you a complete circle. Right? Do that. So if you do a complete circle, but then you have to be really good with your strokes, okay? So I did a complete circle. Now, taking again my small brush, I want it to look furry. So I'm gonna and you see I'm doing it even though it's white and you're going over it. Remember I told you those strokes, they make a difference. Okay? And the same way our gray here, maybe just, I can't even show you how small a bit of black that is. Put a little black on there. Just so that when we cover it with the white, gives you a little variation of color. If I had said what color was, our gnome's beard, you'd say, oh, it's white. When in fact, it's really got a lot of gray. And how that happened was because we added the black. Okay, so I'm coming back over here. I'm going to take my thin, tiny brush that I just did with that, grab some white, just straight up white. I'm just gonna make some lines. Okay, they're just to give us a, almost like a highlight. And as you see, I'm just doing it until the brush dries off, till that I have no more, it's almost giving you like a dry brush. Not tons, but just. Okay, see all that? Again, giving us more movement. Okay, well, more layers you do, the more movement you get, the more interest you get. And it just keeps growing, I like to leave some of that black in there. Now, if you wanted to go in there and really separate it with black, you can do that. And I've done that on my original painting. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave this like this, and then you can decide which way you like it best, okay? But again, lots of movement, all these colors, all the black, all the white, all the gray. And I know they're shades, they're not colors. They're the lack of color. But I just think it looks neat. And again, it's all about the swoop. Okay, so now I'm going to go up in here and I'm going to do the next shade there. Now, since that's a mid-tone on the pink, I think I have to do a darker pink, which is going to be a little bit more red, okay? So that is a lot of red and just a tiny bit of pink. Okay, and that's going to be our outside. Well, you know what, before I do that, silly me, I should have done my black. But that's okay. I'll still do the black. Okay, I'll come back to it. Okay, let me see. So with the black, oh, my black has run out. I come over here and we're going to be going around it, okay? So I'm going to start up here. So I went over the top of the nose. Get a little bit more black. I love using these little cups because we can always save it and do our next painting. So I went over the top of it, okay? And I'm bringing it out. Remember I said it's all about the direction? And don't be frightened to load up your brush, because at the top it's going to be dark and then it's going to come out like that. And again, if you're too scared to load up the brush, you're going to be going back and forth quite a bit. But again, work within your own comfort level. Okay. Okay, so see how we got that in there? It's a little thick, so maybe I'll go back with a little white and all these options we have, right? Just thins it down. See, you're just gonna keep going. You're happy when you're happy, okay? We'll call it that. I'm gonna take a little bit of black, just Okay, just those kind of lines. Again, if you're happy with them. If you're not, what do? We go back, wash out our brush, take some white and go over it. I just remembered I was going to let you see how it was without the lines. Because, you know, it get kind of crazy sometimes, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna leave the beard alone. I think you get the idea of that. Gonna go, we did our pom-pom here. We've got our branch on there. We have to go around now and outline, okay? And down here, we have to make a little bit of lightness on the top and do our extra part there, okay? So I'm gonna rinse out my brush. We're in the home stretch, folks. I know, it took like forever, right? So I'm gonna get my brush. Okay, got my brush. I'm gonna get my red, my white, come over here, break up that stark line I had there. I'm gonna go ahead, do the same thing, add a little bit more white to the same spot. And while it's wet, I'm gonna go in there. Because again, if you do it while it's still wet, you can blend it in. And then once again, pure white with just a tinge of that pink in there. I'm gonna give it its highlight. Now, again, I'm being careful over here not to put my hand down. All right, so that's the highlight on the nose. Now we're gonna go down to our shoes. Rinse out my brush. Got that nice darkness going on. Remember we used that black red? Now we're just gonna use straight up red and do the top, okay? See a very slight difference. We'll do that up here too. A little bit more on there. So you can see the difference. That's the top of the shoe. So a bit darker at the bottom, lighter at the top. Now we're gonna go over here. And again, we have a little bit of that lightness there. I'm just gonna put it on here, because I can. Actually, I'm just kind of like cleaning off my brush, because I'll clean it off up here. Why not, right? You're also gonna decide if you're going to want to outline your entire painting. What I'm gonna do down here is I'm going to take a little bit of black. Very, very little bit of black. And I know it seems like I've been doing this forever, and we have, but again, there's so many options in here in making this fabulous. We wanna do that. So we take some water, okay? It doesn't matter, there's some pink on there, it doesn't matter. And a little bit of black. We really do wanna water that down, almost like an ink. But remember, we don't want it to run. So I'm almost taking all of it off. See how by doing that on the plate, I'm taking a lot of it off. And what I'm doing is I'm coming down here See? And then I'm just going to fill in back here because there should be a shadow from all that beard coming down. Okay? But we just gave it that level of shadow underneath, which I like. I think it's really important to have there. I think it's really pretty. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to do our ornament, and our ornament's going to hang from here. And I think our ornament is going to be, we'll stay in the red family, right? Why not? So again, I'm gonna just take off some of that black, go back there, get some more of that red. But again, we want to stay in that, you know, we don't want bright red right now, being we already, you know, muted it so often. And I'm going to come down here. I think it's going to hang from here. So I'm going to make a nice big red ornament. Now, if I decided earlier, I could have had a couple of thousand layers on here like everything else has, right? But I didn't. So we're just going to fill that in, make that red. And you notice how I didn't put a line and then that? It's easier if I put the ornament there and then create the line, because then I don't have to worry about where it's landing, okay? Okay, so I'm liking that there. Checking everything out over here. I think I am gonna outline my hat and just the outside maybe of my beard. Then you can decide if you want to do the inside or the outside. Because then we're also going to add our highlights. So what I'm going to do now is, because I waited so long, and I think I want it to be a nice big ornament, because you know what, maybe I want to put my name on it. Or maybe I want to put the year. Maybe I don't want to put the year. 2020 has been an interesting year. Get some more red. Fill it in. And again, like I said, you could just keep layering it on. Okay, I'm going to go and get my small brush, because remember, like I said, we're going to outline with the black just to really give us a finished look, so to speak. Now remember, like I said, I did take the black and I did add a little bit of water to it. I'm adding a lot more black this time. Still a little bit of water because we want that nice easy flow, but still, we don't want it to be dripping, because we know, I can't tell you how many paintings I've seen where people have put water and it dripped and did the whole thing. Okay, so let's just get that last piece on there. Again, a little bit of water in a lot of black. That'll avoid the dripping, okay? And I'm going to start with it. Where am I going to start? Remember, I always say start at the top and work your way down, because I don't want to start down here and then rub my hand into it. So first I'm going to see, again, using my thumb, my pinky as my leverage. See, I did just a little bit. I did a little bit so that I could tell if it's going to run or not. Because it would have been really horrible if it had ran. Okay. Now, again, I should have just put that in there. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done up here first, but I did want to check. And see, since I'm using, the small brush, and I'm going over both the top, I'm not falling on the line. I'm going above this and below that, so we get a nice seamless look. Okay. Here we go. If you worry about using the very tip of your brush, don't. Because how do I get that wide line with such a thin brush? I lay my bristles down. Okay, so I'm on here on the tip, but then I lay down the side of it. Okay. Did that side, now I'm gonna do this side. Just making sure that it's not going to run when I pick up my black paint. But again, that whole idea of having it, I don't have to worry about that, is because you want to make sure that you don't see what's underneath it. So I like that. I'm happy. Shocking, right? Because again, like I said, this is one of those things I could be here for a week working on. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to come around. Going over the top of my shoes. Back over here. Now again, during any portion of this, I'm kind of late now, right? I think I may have told you this earlier though, but feel free to fast forward. You don't have to sit here and wait for me to go over the same thing 100 times. If you feel you've got it, you've achieved what you want, by all means, please. Okay. Again, you'll see how it is the other one. If you want to go in here and add the lines, by all means, you can do that. I've got my shoes done, my hat done, my everything over here. We're going to have to put a line for our ornament to hang from. It doesn't have to be 100% straight. It could be however you want it to be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going from my ornament up, not the other way. So I'm gonna start here. Okay, it's hard to see, I know, but I'm gonna go like this and up, okay? So my hand might get in the way, that's what I'm going to show you. So it's gonna go up, okay? Now, am I going to outline it? I think so, right? Don't you think so, guys? So make sure that's dry. I think I may go back and put my lines in. I haven't decided yet, but at least where these are concerned, where they swung around from. Because otherwise it looked kind of silly just laying there. I know I said I wouldn't, but I did. because so often when you paint, you just don't know. I mean, you're looking at it, you're not sure. I mean, the hardest thing sometimes is to know when to stop, you know? Coco Chanel said, when you're putting on your accessories and you think you're done, always take off the last one because that meant it was just a little bit too much. Okay, so. I like it, I'm not gonna lie. Gonna come up here, gonna outline it, make sure it's dry. So I'm gonna put my fingers on it for leverage. Okay, now it shouldn't just be hanging there like that, right? So I think it's gonna have a little bit of a bow, don't you? That it's hanging from. So a little bow is just gonna be a loop and another loop. Right? Okay, are we almost done? Yeah, 2 more things. I know I usually finish off and then have to go back and say, oh, by the way, but I'm just gonna show you our last little bit and we're gonna be done. And I know it took a long time, but I think it's so worth it at the end of the day, okay? It's gonna be our little bit of highlight. So I'm gonna take my wee brush, pick up my white paint. I'm gonna load it up because my paint's getting kind of dry. I'm in a very, very warm room, believe it or not. Pick that up, coming over here, and you always go the same direction. So you wouldn't have a highlight here and a highlight there. They're always gonna be in the same direction. So making sure this is dry, I'm gonna make a little tiny, it's almost like a kidney bean. So if I do it there, I'm gonna do it here. Then I'm gonna give it another little dot right there. A dot there. Okay, see our little highlight? We got a little highlight on our nose, right? And our ornament. So if the highlights are on the left side of the shoes, the highlight's gonna be on the left side of our ornament, okay? Because remember, it's all, the light's coming from one direction, okay? Here we go. And I'm gonna make it a little bit of a, what do you think? Okay, maybe another little dot. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our gnome is done. So again, you have to have a name, okay? If we've got a name, if we've got a face, we've got a name. So I hope you're gonna find out what your name is, okay? I have a little paint on my brush. I'm gonna clean it off right there, okay? I'm gonna wash my brushes. Be right back. Well, I hope you had as much fun as I did today painting our gnome friend. As promised during our video, I told you I would show you one I had done before the one we did today. So this is a guy I did actually in the springtime, believe it or not, when we were home for COVID. And notice it has a gray background, the base is different, it has some hearts hanging from it, and the branch is kind of black. The one we did today, the branch is green, the ornament is hanging there, the hat has a fuzzy ball on it, and our background is different, as is our base. So, you know, the same artist can do the same painting multiple times and never come out exactly the same. What I do like about this guy, as well as the other one, is that you can put a name going across the brim of the hat, or maybe a family name or the year that you painted it on the ornament. Either way, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll join us for our next one. Remember, be safe, be blessed, and art is everything.